Alrighty guys, so today in this video we're not going to be talking about the spinnerbait like I was going to do. So you guys know that I did get a deer today. This morning I went out and just before the sun came up, two came in and I put an arrow in one of them, and the other one did not come close enough for me to put the other arrow into it, but that was okay. Got one, that's all that matters. So today in this in-depth episode, we're going to be talking about this guy right here, if I can bring it over to me. This guy right here, this is a Doc's Lure Company Green Pumpkin Magic 2-inch DS minnow, drop shot minnow, and we're going to be throwing it with a little tiny underspin. You guys can see that little underspin there, little teeny tiny underspin. We're going to be hoping for bluegill, crappie, bass, whatever will bite. I don't know. It's going to be kind of a mystery what will bite. Could catch crappie, could catch big bluegill hybrids, could catch big bluegill, could catch a big bass. We don't know. Pretty excited though. I think it'll be a pretty neat bait to fish. I haven't really fished these little baits like this on a little underspin like this ever, so. Blade doesn't really spin right because the jig head and they painted the barrel swivel that they use to connect the head to the blade, so the blade sometimes doesn't spin. I wish that they had not done that. I might end up doing a little bit of modifications to it maybe later on after I make this video. Don't know if we're going to catch anything. Like I've said before, main priority of these videos is to teach you guys how to fish them, not to really catch any fish. You know, right now it's pretty darn cold, so if I do catch anything, it'll be a pretty good day. I'll be happy. I've already killed one deer today. Probably going hunting, maybe, I don't know. We got my hunting clothes in the washer right now, so don't really know if I'll have time to go hunting this evening, but if I do, then maybe I'll get one then. Be able to get 2 deer in one day and maybe catch a fish. That'd be nice. I haven't caught a fish in a while. It's been quite the little bit since I've caught a fish. That bluegill was the first fish I'd caught since November 6th, and I have not caught a bass or crappie in a long time. I've not caught a crappie in a month, actually closer to 2 months. So we'll see. Hopefully I can. With this muddier water, I opted to go with a little blade on it, and I also decided to go with a white and red jig head, which is the only way I could have, honestly, with that little blade. But I also went with, instead of like a white or a crystal shad, I went with a Green Pumpkin Magic little 2-inch DS minnow. The reason why, I kind of just thought that the Green Pumpkin Magic was a really good color. I like that color a whole lot. You guys know I've talked about it constantly. So I think that I could probably catch something if I fish out here for long enough. Probably should have used just a normal regular jig head instead of this little bladed thing. But you know, whatever. Cast it out there and let it sink all the way to the bottom, and then we'll slow roll it back in. The only problem with fishing with something that is this small is it's very hard to feel the bait if it's on the bottom, or if it's, you know, if it's down there, you know, close to the bottom. All you can really do is hope that it's down there and just fish it really slowly and wait for a bite. Pretty simple way of fishing. A bunch of bubbles just came up right there. Oh, that's weird. Drop my bait down right there. I don't know what it would have been, but something was there. Might have been a crawfish or just a bunch of air bubbles just popping up for no reason. That happens quite a bit. But yeah, I have not caught a fish in a good little while, so it'd be nice to hook into one. I don't care how big it is. It can be a 4-pounder. I mean, it would be nice if it's a 4-pounder, but I'll take a 10-incher just as nice. I'll be pretty happy, considering I haven't caught anything in close to 2 months. Getting there, close to 2 months. It's been a month and month and what, 15, 16 days now since I've caught my last fish, because my last bass was November 6th, so it's been a little while. So at this point I'll be happy with whatever decides to bite. I don't care if it's big, small, medium. I'll take whatever decides to hit my bait. Thought about coming out here in a little bit with some night crawlers. I think I might still do that. Just seeing if I can try to catch something, because I haven't caught anything in so long. I don't know though. I might just stick with lures. I might tie on a Ned rig or something. Try to get a decent fish on the Ned rig. I like this little 2-inch drop shot minnow. The big one, the original drop shot minnow, does the same thing, but I like this 2-inch. Ooh, there's a fish right there. There was a fish right there in that shallows. He was right over there. He was right there, you guys. That's quite interesting. Got a bunch of grass on my bait. Interesting, interesting, interesting. That is very interesting. Sorry about the glare off the water. I can't really help with that right now. Standing here, can't really do anything about it. We'll go over here in the shade. Throw around here on this flat part. See if that fish is hanging around by the flats on the flat. That was a fish. I don't know if it was a bass or bluegill, or even if it was any good size, but it was a fish, so that's giving me a little sign of hope that I could possibly get a fish today. One of my favorite ways to fish for bluegill, seems to work quite well in my pond anyway, is just throwing little swim baits and stuff right up here by this brush pile. But that usually works in the summertime. I don't know about the winter. I haven't caught anything off this brush pile in the winter, so I don't know. But usually I'll throw the little swim baits, little 1.5 and stuff like that right up here on this brush pile. And sometimes I'll get some pretty good sized bluegill and ooh, hit that piece of brush. Glad I didn't hook it. Piece of grass on my bait. Yep. We're going ahead, keep on throwing. We'll toss out here in the deep water. Got my drag set pretty loose just in case we do hook up into a decent bass. I won't bend out the hook as soon as I set the hook on it. This rod and reel combo that I'm using is my 13 Fishing Code White. Been waiting to get a fish on this rod for a while. Have yet to catch anything on it. Hoping to soon though. Try to keep the microphone away from the wind. The wind just started blowing. Sorry if it's bothering the audio at all. I don't think this video is going to be as long as normal in-depth episodes are, but try to talk you guys through what I normally do with this type of setup. What I usually do with this type of setup is I'll cast it out depending on where the fish are. If they're in deeper water, sometimes I'll jig it up and down in the deeper water, or I'll just cast it out, let it sink to the bottom and slow swim it back. Right now, honestly, I have no idea where the fish are. You know, like I said, I seen that fish there in the shallows. And obviously in the wintertime, the fish do go deep sometimes as well. Oops. Hang on here. And we are back. Usually how I'll fish this type of a rig, depending on what I'm throwing, you know, if I'm throwing a 2-inch swimmer, you know, I'll let it sink a little bit farther down, because with the lighter jig heads, you know, it's pretty hard to keep a bigger bait down with the lighter jig heads. But if you are throwing like a 1.5 or this DS minnow, you don't have to let it fall all the way to the bottom, because it'll kind of just swim straight enough to where you don't have to worry about it coming up to the surface. Especially if you keep your rod tip down. You guys have seen how I've been fishing this. You guys can see that I'm keeping my rod tip down towards the water, sometimes even in the water. Just keeping my bait as low as possible in the water column, keeping it down there where the fish are, or where at least I think they are, trying to figure it out. And this is a very good tool. You know, something small like this can be a very good tool when you're fishing a place that you've never fished before, or if you're testing out new water. Something like this can be very helpful, because you can catch big fish, little fish, and anywhere in between size fish on small baits. A lot of people just think small baits catch small fish. Well, anymore, if you've watched any bass fishing, you've known that the Ned rig has gotten very popular over the past few years. Tiny swim baits are getting even more popular every year. You know, small little tiny finesse worms are getting more and more popular. And people are realizing that, hey, just because it's a small bait does not mean at all that it will only catch small fish. You know, I've caught some near 4-pounders on some of these small baits. Probably to some people, you know, a 4-pounder is not giant, but for around here, a 4-pounder is a pretty good size fish. You always see them people smallmouth fishing with small baits. You know, they're fishing small baits. That doesn't mean they're only going to catch small fish. You know, I've seen some giant smallmouth caught on very small little tubes, little tiny swim baits, little drop shot baits. I've seen some monster smallies caught with tiny little baits. Even though everybody says that tiny fish only keep, yeah, I keep saying it wrong. Tiny baits catch tiny fish. Well, if you watch anymore, almost any smallmouth fishing video, they're catching, you know, 5- and 6-pounders on, you know, little tiny 2-inch swim baits, stuff like that. It definitely does not only catch small fish. And I think a lot of the people in the largemouth fishing world have started to realize that. That's why almost every year you're seeing a new company come out with a new smaller version of a different bait or whatever. Because they work. And they're finally starting to realize that, hey, you know what, these tiny little baits that we thought were too small catch big fish. And now that they're realizing that, I think that a lot of them are regretting not opening their eyes to the bigger world of the smaller baits, I guess you could say, because there is a lot of smaller baits that can be used to catch big fish. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you guys did learn anything in this video on how to fish crappie and bluegill, and multi-species fishing is mainly what this video was for, let me know down in the comments. Let me know if you've been catching any good fish lately. Around here it's pretty much just gotten really cold and the fish don't seem they want to bite. You know, I've gotten quite a few bites in the past couple days, but was not able to hook up on them. So let me know down in the comments if you've been catching any fish. Thanks for watching. If you guys want to pick up any of these 2-inch Dox Lure Company DS minnows, You can get them in whatever color that you've seen me talk about. That color there is Green Pumpkin Magic. 15 a pack for $4. Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching again. Bye.